Param Vijayate Shri Kṛṣṇa Sankirtanam, total world victory of Hare Krishna. My name is Sitapati Das.
My name is Danna Devi.
And this is Bhagavad-gita, a song of God, as it is by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, chapter 6, text number 7. Let's go. Jita-ātmanaḥ praśāntasya Paramātmā samāhitaḥ śītoṣṇa-sukha-duḥkheṣu tathā mānāpamānayoḥ jita-ātmanaḥ.
Of one who has conquered his mind,
praśāntasya,
of one who has attained tranquility by such control over the mind,
Paramātmā,
the Supersoul,
samāhitaḥ,
approach completely,
śīta,
cold,
uṣṇa,
heat,
sukha,
and happiness,
duḥkheṣu,
and distress,
tathā,
also
māna,
honor
apamānayoḥ.
and dishonor.
Interesting, māna.
Yeah, honored.
Mm.
This is my mana, my honor,
Māna.
mana. And Maori means my spirit, isn't it? My character, my being.
Translation.
For one who has conquered the mind, the Supersoul is already reached, for he has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same.
Are all the same. Okay, purport. Actually, by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, actually, every living entity is intended to abide by the dictation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is seated in everyone's heart as Paramātmā. When the mind is misled by the external illusory energy, one becomes entangled in material activities. Therefore, as soon as one's mind is controlled through one of the yoga systems, one is to be considered as having already reached the destination. One has to abide by superior dictation. When one's mind is fixed on the superior nature, he has no other alternative but to follow the dictation of the Supreme. The mind must admit some superior dictation and follow it.
The effect of controlling the mind is that one automatically follows the dictation of the Paramahansa or Supersoul. Paramātmā. Because this transcendental position is at once achieved by one who is in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. The devotee of the Lord is unaffected by the dualities of material existence, namely distress and happiness, cold and heat. This state is practical samādhi, or absorption in the Supreme.
Amigyanatimirandasya gyananjana shalakaya chakshurmilitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Now, of course, this verse echoes 2:14. Matra sparshas tu kaunteya śītoṣṇa-sukha-duḥkheṣu. Śītoṣṇa-duḥkheṣu? No, śītoṣṇa-sukha-duḥkheṣu. Agamapaino nityas tamstatikshvash vabharata. Śītoṣṇa-sukha-duḥkheṣu.
Sukha-dukkha. Sukha means ocean, isn't it? Sukha?
Happiness, sukha.
Happiness, sukha.
So maybe śītoṣṇa-duḥkheṣu. Let me check. See, I want to see here it says śītoṣṇa-sukha-duḥkheṣu, right?
Okay, just showing you.
Sure. But I'm thinking 2:13 is SDSD. śītoṣṇa-duḥkheṣu. Let's have a look. So we're on 6:7, but we'll open a new tab for this. 2:14. No, yeah, śītoṣṇa-sukha-duḥkheṣu. śītoṣṇa-sukha-duḥkheṣu. Da, to give. Danna.
Danna.
Gift.
That's me.
Yeah. śītoṣṇa-sukha-duḥkheṣu. in distress.
Mm-hmm.
So he's equipoised. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are the same. Do your duty without. So if we go here to chapter 2, so if we find the words honor, dishonor is worse than death. Maybe, where is it then? Is it in 3? Let's have a look. But the theme of these dualities of happiness and distress, hot and cold, and then confined honor. The way it scrolls on here, it's kind of cool. 3. Is it in 4? Maybe it's in 5. The verse that says, do your duty without considering victory or defeat.
Isn't that like in chapter 1? Because victory or defeat is now what Arjuna was telling to Arjuna.
But Kṛṣṇa hasn't begun his instructions to
Okay. Yeah.
victory, defeat, honor, dishonor. The easiest way to find this stuff is using the second edition database in the search feature, and then asking this question here, victory, honor, and then find it in Bhagavad-gita As It Is, 18:10. Here it is here. It's in 2. Okay, so it doesn't say honor or dishonor. It's 238. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat. And by so doing, you shall never incur sin. See, this here is what I was talking about the other day. I was talking to that devotee who said, not chanting in the protests in order to avoid, the government doing something. That's gone from do thou chanting for the sake of chanting without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, to considering loss or gain, victory or defeat, and then doing or not doing based on that, which is different from what Kṛṣṇa presents in Bhagavad-gita. That's why I say that that's a philosophical deviation, doing it that way around. I don't know, it's weird. It's like they haven't read the book. It seems strange to me. This book is very clear to me. Seems very clear. For one who has conquered the mind, the Supersoul has already reached, for he has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same.
Mm-hmm.
My friend Michael McNeish has got a flu at the moment. Cold or flu or whatever.
The man flu?
8th wave of COVID, who knows. But he just said to me, he said, amazing that you chanted through being sick at Profest, because we all got the flu there.
Mm-hmm. At the end, though, you guys got at the end.
Kind of in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I got at the end.
You got it at the end?
Yeah. I don't know if it was like the flu, whatever thing, but obviously it's flu, the flu.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They call it the COVID.
The COVIDs.
Mm-hmm.
6-7 for one. 6-7, here we go. A lot of chopping and changing there. Completely approached. And then there's a few kind of chops and changes here. Here the book follows the manuscripts verbatim. Considered to have reached seems to me more idiomatic than considered as having reached. This is what I wrote to Gora, and I said, here's the categories of editing that I can see. This is not taking it closer. Here the book follows the manuscripts verbatim, but he's re-editing the book.
Mm-hmm.
It's now, this is a category of edits where it's like changing it to be what he wanted it to be. 6-7.
It's a little Weak-looking man, isn't he?
Hmm?
He's a little weak-looking man.
You mean physically?
Yeah, quite weak.
Yeah, but I mean that's I would say that's an ad hom. It's accurate and it's also ad hominem.
No, I'm just saying what I see.
Sure. Yeah.
It's like saying, "Hey, this phone is like a pinkish logo."
Yeah. True.
It's like it's not happening. No, I'm just describing how it appears to me.
True facts. Okay, back to the verse. Jita-ātmanaḥ praśāntasya Paramātmā samāhitaḥ śītoṣṇa-sukha-duḥkheṣu tathā mānāpamānayoḥ.
And what was your application? Contemporary application?
Yeah, like just the example that I gave, chanting.
Okay.
Yeah.
For one who has conquered the mind, the Supersoul is always rich. I'm confused about this. Already rich. I'm confused about this.
You're confused
but
about
he
this
has
part
attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. Yeah. So no one can conquer the mind. And how come he says now for one who has conquered the mind? It's like, wait. Right.
Well, it says jita-ātmanaḥ. So jita means to conquer, and atma can mean the self. It can mean the mind, the body, the soul.
Yeah, but there it says for one who has conquered the mind, like
yeah.
And in the Gita itself says like the mind cannot be conquered.
Well, no, it doesn't.
It can be like managed or given something to. That's why they say chant Kṛṣṇa, the names of Kṛṣṇa. Think about Kṛṣṇa. So you are giving a task to the mind. As otherwise, the mind will give you a lot of tasks, a lot of thoughts, and I guess ideas and perversions, whatever.
Well, here is the, where's the causality in here? Because
Sita is called Sitapati.
No, this is śīta. Śīta.
Oh, śīta. Hello, Sitapati. Sorry.
In a previous purport.
Yes, sir.
Which is altered between the first and second edition. It's been altered to be more like this, which is that for one who has conquered the mind, the Supersoul is already reached. The other one is more along the lines of, see, these two things are here, right? Jita-ātmanaḥ, praśāntasya, and then Paramātmā samāhitaḥ. These two things are like in parallel, conquering the mind, tranquility, and attaining the Supersoul. But what's the causal relationship between them? You see what I mean? So one way of looking at it is for one who has conquered the mind, the Supersoul is already reached. The other way of looking at it is for one who reaches the Supersoul, their mind is conquered.
Yeah, I guess in this way it's because the mind is completely immersed in thinking of the Supersoul Kṛṣṇa. Therefore, it's conquered in that way.
Yeah.
But the mind itself can never be conquered.
Well, it can. Another way of looking at it is like this, and this is from the Bhagavad-gita. That, Indriyani Paranya, who are Indriya, that's in here. That's in this. If we have a look at this. Superior to dull matter. This is in the Bhagavad-gita as well as in Indriyani Paranya, who are, it's 342. Indriyani Paranya hur indriyebhya param mana manasastu para burir yobure paratastu saha. The working senses are superior to dull matter. Mind is higher than the senses. Intelligence is still higher than the mind.
I know.
And the soul is even higher than the intelligence.
Soul, mind, intelligence. Not intelligence, mind, and the senses. Yeah.
Bodily action means a function of the senses, and stopping the senses means stopping all bodily actions. But since the mind is active, even though the body may be silent and at rest, the mind will act as it does during dreaming. But above the mind is the determination of the intelligence, and above the intelligence is the soul proper. If, therefore, the soul is directly engaged with the Supreme, naturally all the other subordinates, namely the intelligence, mind, and senses, will be automatically engaged.
Yeah, engaged.
Uh-huh.
Not controlled. Engaged.
Yeah. Engage the mind always in Kṛṣṇa consciousness to solve the whole problem. One has to strengthen the mind by use of the intelligence. If by intelligence one engages one's mind in Kṛṣṇa consciousness by complete surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then automatically the mind becomes stronger. The soul is the master of intelligence and mind. The senses also still, unless it is strengthened by association with Kṛṣṇa and Kṛṣṇa consciousness, there's every chance of falling down due to the agitated mind.
Yeah. So the mind has to be engaged in this sense, and what am I understanding this verse or text is that the moment you engage your mind, it has to be engaged in thinking for and the Supersoul. In that way, then it's conquered or controlled.
Yeah. Yeah, when one has to abide by superior dictation. When one's mind is fixed on the superior nature, he has no other alternative but to follow the dictation of the Supreme.
Yeah.
The mind must admit some superior dictation and follow it. The effect of controlling the mind is that one automatically follows the dictation of the Paramātmā or Supersoul. That's the meaning of controlling the mind. So, for example, if it says chant, you must chant, it doesn't matter whether you think it's going to be good or bad. It doesn't matter whether you think you're going to get happiness or distress, honor or dishonor, victory or defeat. You just go out and do it. You override the mind, because the mind is a function of the mind is sankalpa vikalpa, to like accept and reject, to be attracted to things and repulsed by things. And of course, you always, you want to get some good situation or whatever, and you think, and then a man, if he sees that he'll be thwarted in his desires, he loses all of his motivation. Prabhupada, speaking in the first chapter, Purport. Why are you looking at me like that?
Because I have eyes.
But to be on the platform of the Supersoul, to conquer the mind, one follows the dictation of the Supersoul.
Okay.
Yeah, and so you go and chant.
Okay.
And then you'll be peaceful.
Okay.
This state is practical samādhi, or absorption in the Supreme. Param Vijayate Sri Kṛṣṇa Sankirtanam. Total world victory of Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Shri Kṛṣṇa.
Welcome this way. Yeah, thank you. You've been chopping my head. No. Stop it.
Hare Kṛṣṇa.